Hello. Hello.
Hi, my name is Ania Kolbuszewska. In 2018, I was one of the 50-strong all-female presenter team at an event organised by EFLtalks, Inspiring Women in ELT, an event which won Eve of the Year award for 2018. Parity is extremely important to us at EFLtalks, so now we're giving an all-male team of presenters a chance. On April Fool's Day, join EFLtalks for EFL Laughs, a comedy event which we're dedicating to the whole EFL world. Teachers, students, fans, let's have a few laughs together in these challenging times. This is also a call for female presenters who would like to join an all-female team for another EFL Laughs event in May. See you all on April the 1st. Hi, my name is Ania Kolbuszewska. In 2018, I was one of the 50-strong all-female presenter team at an event organised by EFLtalks, Inspiring Women in ELT, an event which won Eve of the Year award for 2018. Parity is extremely important to us at EFLtalks, so now we're giving an all-male team of presenters a chance. On April Fool's Day, join EFLtalks for EFL Laughs, a comedy event which we're dedicating to the whole EFL world. Teachers, students, fans, let's have a few laughs together in these challenging times. This is also a call for female presenters who would like to join an all-female team for another EFL Laughs event in May. See you all on April the 1st.
Hello. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to start streaming. And if you can go to EFLtalks
YouTube. There. It's still the old one with you counting.
Really?
Let me refresh.
Yeah, it's like a 12-second delay.
Uh-huh.
So it's a really long delay.
Because it shows me you're still streaming, so... Okay, now I'm seeing the white screen there too, and you're moving the mouse.
Okay.
Or Alexa, I don't know.
That should be Alexa moving the mouse.
I don't know. Don't see who.
Great. See, there goes the Lenovo. Just shut itself off while I'm in the middle of logging in. Now it's shutting down.
Take a deep breath. You're fine. Okay, it's streaming okay on YouTube.
What's it streaming? Just us talking?
Yes.
Some
background noise.
Yeah, sure, it's fine. Stay in. Cheryl, can you hear me? Just type yes in the chat if you can, please.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, good. All right, you're there.
Oh, hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Emma. How are you doing?
Oh, great. How are you?
Good.
She's
I'm going to mute myself because we're going to run through our slides real quick.
Okay, say hi to others.
Okay.
Alright, so now we know they can hear us too.
Okay. So no swearing.
Yes, be good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now if I share this.
Alright. Okay.
Oh, horrible quality.
It's alright.
This is so good. Oh, that's fine. Okay, so...
Okay, the sharing is on YouTube too. With a delay, but working.
Yeah, let me see now. So... I need a bigger desk. Okay, so how's my sound?
Good.
How's my hair?
I don't know.
That's the most important thing. You can't see me?
I can see you now. I was looking at the YouTube screen.
Okay,
So I see you. Yes, I see you on YouTube too. And the layout is okay, so yeah, it's good.
Okay. Now, let me stop share. You should see the people that are here. And let's change this view to be speaker view only. So you should only see the speaker big, right? And let's share the video. tell me if you hear the video.
Hi, my name is Anya Kolbuszewska.
Yes, I can hear it.
2018,
Alright, see if you hear it on
strong all-female presenter team at
EFLtalks.
EFLtalks, Inspiring Women in Real TV, an event which won Eve of the Year award for
Can I
2000.
stop it here, please?
Parity is extremely important.
Okay, do it work?
Hang on. Okay, yeah, you can hear it on YouTube too.
Okay.
There was some echo like right before, but it's okay. Where to start the videos out is okay.
Hi, Lucy.
Hi Rob, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah. Trying to catch up the hour from last night.
Good. I'm just getting some last minute things done here. So just you can mute your mic and camera, and you're going to share your PowerPoint
Yeah.
from there. And I still got. Do you have the email in front of you with the order I sent you?
Yeah. There should be.
Because I don't have it.
I've got, first of all, Larissa,
Alright, Marissa,
and then Neves and Cheryl,
Cheryl,
Stefania,
Stefania,
Danny,
Danny,
Daniela,
Daniela,
then me,
and Lucy,
and then Giovanni,
Giovanni,
Sabrina,
Sabrina,
Guy,
Guy,
Teresa,
Teresa,
Valentina,
Valentina,
and then Letizia.
and Letizia. Very good, thank you. Just saving me 5 more minutes of stress that I don't even have.
Okay.
Alright, great. So we'll see you in a bit. We'll start at 2.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi Rob,
Hello.
Stefan here.
Hi.
How are you?
Great, and yourself? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Rob. I'm ready. I mean,
Okay, you know how to share your screen on Zoom, correct?
Yes, I've got a very good teacher.
Hello, hi teacher.
So, you have to share screen.
Okay, you don't need to do it now, but when it's
There's host disable participant screen sharing.
okay. But I'll do it when it's time.
Okay, thank you.
So let's see. Let me just check if I make you a co-host. Do you have it now?
This will stop other screen sharing. Do you want to continue? Yes. There you go. Maybe like just share. Can you see? You see exactly what I see, don't you?
Yep, now you're at 5.
So there you go, like that. Is that okay?
Yep, perfect.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
so
Okay. Okay.
don't show your slides.
Good. Thanks. Thank
Great.
you.
Alright, thank you. So
Good.
we'll see you in a little bit. So you can just mute your mic and camera.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Thank you.
thank you. Bye now. Alright, let's see. So, Eva, I'm gonna take you off as co-host.
Okay.
And then, alright, we have Sabrina. Can you unmute your camera and mic for a moment, please?
Yes. Here I am.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yay! Okay, great. All right. You know how to share share your PowerPoint, right?
I know. I will have. Yes, I will go with the PDF, but I'll make it in the F11, view thing.
Okay. Very good.
It works. Why is it not working? This is something that shouldn't be working this way. Go full screen. Okay, but this is not the.
It's not showing yet. It's in the setup mode. Share. This one.
And I lost the full screen. Why isn't it going from the keyboard? Go in F11. This is the way it works. Oh, there it is. You didn't get it.
Okay. Looks great.
Yes. So this is the way you'll see it. I will move around like this. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Don't show everything.
What about because I just realized that my microphone has gone nuts and it's not working properly. How do you hear me now?
It's okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it could be better.
I wear it so I look a bit more professional, but still.
Well, if you want to wear it, put it on right now and we'll check it.
Yeah, tell me how you hear me. Hang on.
Hi,
I
Danny.
believe it's going just through the computer. Can you hear me different now?
I don't think so. Go to the microphone in the lower left-hand corner of Zoom. Press the up arrow.
Yep, up.
And it'll say select a microphone. What's it showing?
It would show group of microphone, same as system and group, microphone group.
Try same system.
No, I am already on same system.
Oh, then try the other.
I've just done it.
Okay, I don't hear any difference, so.
Yeah, so my microphone has gone nuts and it's not working anymore. Shoot!
I've been having, for the past 2 days, we've been having strange things. I think Zoom, with all the users, is making some changes in the audio. Because normally I'll come in with audio is perfect. Now I have to play around with it to get it to work.
Right. So I'm not the only one having problems. Okay.
Yeah. So you're all set. Mute your camera and mic, and I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, hi Daniela, how are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
Very good, thanks.
Can I try and share my screen just to check?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Let me see if I made you. Okay.
It's my PowerPoint presentation. Can you see it?
Yeah, you get 5. Oh, there you go. All right. Don't show everything.
Okay.
Don't look at anybody.
Okay, stop sharing. It's
Great.
okay.
It's perfect. So, Jenny will be up right before you, so
I'm at 2:40, 20 to 3. In Italy, of course, so we have a different time.
Yeah.
So I'm the 5th, I think.
You're the 5th. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Be ready though, just in case, because I just taught Danny how to do everything yesterday. If he does, for some reason, have a problem, I may have to jump to you, okay? So just be
I'll be
ready.
here at 2 o'clock. Is that okay?
Yeah, 2's fine.
Just to have a little snack?
Yes, stay in the room though, just mute your camera and mic, and don't leave the room. Because if the room
I
goes
don't
out...
leave the room, yes. I also have my mobile phone, so in any case, I memorize your mobile phone number. I'll send you a message through WhatsApp.
Wonderful.
In case you need to call me, okay?
Okay, great. And thanks again for being here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting.
Okay.
See you in a minute.
See ya. Hi, Teresa, you want to try yours? Make sure we're okay.
Hi, good again.
Hello again.
Okay, so I just want to go put some face on.
Oh, okay.
I'll be back.
All right. I'm sure you look fine. And
Okay. We'll see you in a bit then.
Very
The
good.
mute. I'll turn on the mute.
Yeah, mute everything. Thanks.
Okay, see you in a bit then.
Bye. Okay, Danny.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Camera on.
Good. Okay, yep. Everything seems fine.
Turn the camera on. I'm not seeing you yet.
Video, yeah. Video.
Okay, same thing. Move the thing down.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And do you remember how to share?
Yeah, I do. Should I don't want to do it. Should I do it now? Or?
Yeah, we'll just they can see the opening slide. It's fine.
Okay. So share screen. Haha, brilliant. It's not here.
Did you open it? Open it and make sure you hit F5. Or present only, whatever it is. I can't say it.
Yeah. I need to open the bloody thing now. Hang on. Go.
Not you. I'm yelling at my other machine. Do you see your PowerPoint?
Yeah, I've got it on now. I have to go to presentation, that's right. Yeah.
And
then it's from the beginning?
Yep.
Okay.
Now go to share screen.
Right. Okay, so got that up. So I go back to share screen. Share screen. Yep, it's there. Good. So I click on it.
Click on it.
Here. And share. Yep.
There you go. You're an expert now.
So it's visible.
Yep. Perfect.
Okay. So the only thing I need to do is get the situation where I've got you on half the screen and this slide on the other.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll turn myself off when you're doing your presentation. So you'll look like this.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. But are you going to give us a signal when there's a minute left, aren't you?
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I'll just come on and say, that's it. So give it, because
that's not nice.
Yeah, I can't do the smiley face like I do in Wiz IQ. So
okay.
All right, just get a timer. All right.
I've got about 3 clocks around me. And I can get ticking away.
Good. All right. So very good. So mute your camera and phone and mic, and we'll see you fourth. So see you in a bit.
That's right. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Who else is here? Larissa, you ready?
Hello, how are you?
Can you?
No, he's working with somebody else.
Oh, who's that, Cheryl? Okay, Larissa, turn on your mic and camera.
Here we go.
Hi! Everybody, this is all her fault. So, you know how to share your screen, right?
Let's see if that's fine. Is it working? Wow.
Yeah, just go into presentation mode. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Great.
Beep, beep. All right. Okay.
All right. So
Good.
you're up first. So be ready.
All right. I will. Just one question. I know that we cannot interact and we can just speak ourselves. But can I ask a few questions?
Of who?
So just about the slide. So won't be
To ask the audience?
yes, to use the chat box.
If you're going to do it, it's taking up your time. It'll slow you down. I'm warning you.
All right. Okay.
Also, keep in mind that all the overflow is on EFLtalks YouTube, so they can't interact.
Okay.
So make it quick if you're going to do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it very, very quickly. Yeah, I think just a couple of slides. This is gonna be rhetorical question then.
You rebel, you. Okay. Great. So mute your camera and mic, and we'll see you in a bit.
All right.
Letizia, you're next. Okay, Letizia, up next. Cheryl, can you hear me? All right, so either Cheryl or Letizia. Thanks, John. Let me see if I can make an adjustment. John, how's it sounding now? Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. So for those of you that are here, bear with us. We have about 12 minutes left and we'll get started. And Letizia, if you're there, just turn on your mic and camera. Thank you, Avram. And what else are we missing? with us. Who's coughing? Cheryl, is that you?
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Where's your partner?
She should be on here. She was seeing everybody, so I'm assuming that Nevis is on here. We just hung up on Hangouts, so she's here and she's ready to screen share, and she's got 2 or 3 different computers going on, so
Yeah.
she got it.
Okay. Good. How's things?
You're on there yet?
Yeah.
I just found out we're essential, so we're going to have to be going to school. I don't know what that means, that we have to see students. We're not even hit the high point of our, anyway, yeah. Interesting news. I just heard it yesterday. I thought we were going to do everything online, but now they've asked, can we meet with students? And I'm like, yeah, if I have all the protective gear, give me a hazmat suit. Oh, shoot.
Yes, I know everything about the virus.
As weird as I was talking with my little kids that I have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders about what a virus was, what it was, and they got it, and I'm like, at least now that it really went big, they know. Anyway, I'm going to mute myself.
Okay.
Hello, Rob. Mavis here. Can you hear me?
Hello?
What's my sound coming across like? I didn't change the mic yet, but I think this should be fine.
I don't know. It's very strange. You sound Australian.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
And here I wanted to sound Italian. Okay. All right. As long as the sound is clear.
Yeah, it's good. Usually it's a little bassier, but this is okay.
Okay, good. So did you want to check my screen share, Cheryl was saying?
No, you know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not worried about it.
Okay, great.
Just, do you want to flip on your camera for a second?
Sure.
Just to make sure it's okay.
Just answering. Oops. I can't do two things at once. There we go. Yeah, I should be able to, shouldn't I? I'm a woman. Just kidding. Okay, there we go.
Oh, I'm off, so you can't see me.
It's all right. Hello, there you are. I just realised I'm looking really coloured, but that's okay. I can't do anything. My lamp blew, and we had to change it with what we had available because
looks good.
we're in lockdown.
Yep. You look fine.
Okay, good. I'm not worried. Doesn't matter. They're not here for me anyway. For my good looks.
I was actually. I'm here for your good voice.
Okay, Cheryl, are you on? Can you turn your camera on too, Cheryl, so we can see if it's working? Where is Cheryl?
Yes.
There we are. Okay, great. You're looking good.
All right. There. How's that? That's it.
All right.
That's much clearer.
Well, let me see what I can do. I want to get both of you on screen at the same time. I can only do gallery or speaker, unless...
I think it only, with Zoom, when you're taping it, it only shows the person speaking at the moment. So, for example, because we're doing 10 slides and we're doing a slide each, when I speak, you'll see my image, and when Cheryl speaks, you'll see Cheryl. No? This is what happened when we did our recent.
There's one trick. What you do is you go and you put hide non-video participants, and then I don't know if you're not. See the broadcast now? The three of us are here and nobody else. Okay? So you'll stay on.
Okay.
I learned. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I must not be an old enough dog yet. So, great. All right, so you guys are all set. And how are we doing for time? About 3 minutes.
We're really early. We've got another 45 minutes before the half hour before. Otherwise,
well, for you, no. We're starting in 3 minutes.
We're starting in 3 minutes. You're right.
Yeah.
What made me think that we were?
You're still down under, I guess.
It's all right. Oh, Larissa's on first. What? Hang on a minute. What's my camera clock showing?
Did you change your time?
But I did. My watch is fine. I just realised that my
Sorry, Rob, should we consider 15 minutes each, like 10 minutes, we change and everything, just to have an idea of the time it'll be my turn?
Figure 12 minutes.
12 minutes each?
Yes.
Yeah. Gosh.
Roughly 12. Usually what I do when I do the schedule, I do 12 minutes, 13 minutes, 12 minutes, 13 minutes, and it never comes out exactly right. Because most of you tend to talk too much, and I have to cut you off. Or once in a while, somebody will talk too short, so we start to balance out. So that's why I say times are subjects to change. Okay.
My dear, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 12 multiplied by 8. No. Guess your letter.
Good luck. Okay, so everybody mute your mics and cameras, and we'll get started in a minute. Sabrina, you can do your math. Let me see. Is it a good thing that you're an English teacher and not a math teacher? I don't know. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Okay. Okay, whoever has an open mic, please close it. Fine, that was you. Okay. Great. Alright, we're going to get started in a minute. Let me give you a little commercial. And just so you know, I'm really not watching the chat room because I have other things I have to keep track of. So, sorry, why is that there? Oh, that's why. Let me show you a quick little video while we're waiting.
Hi, my name is Anya Kolbuszewska. In 2018, I was one of the 50-strong all-female presenter team at an event organised by EFLtalks, Inspiring Women in ERT, an event which won Eve of the Year award for 2018. Parity is extremely important to us at EFLtalks, so now we're giving an all-male team of presenters a chance. On April Fool's Day, join EFLtalks for EFL Laughs, a comedy event which we're dedicating to the whole EFL world. Teachers, students, fans, let's have a few laughs together in these challenging times. This is also a call for female presenters who would like to join an all-female team for another EFL Laughs event in May. See you all on April the 1st.
Okay. Volume, please. Could you hear the video? No? Oh.
I heard it.
Okay. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, great. So, we are going to get started. And first thing, welcome everybody. And I'm Rob Howard. And I started EFLtalks some years ago. And what we're here to do today is to reach out to Italy. Larissa got a hold of me a few weeks ago and said things are really bad. And we needed something to cheer up the people in Italy. It was bad. So we decided to put this together. And as you see, it's a fundraiser, not a fundraiser. We won't ask for your money. But we want to try and lift the spirits and know that the people in Italy are not alone. And we may be doing one for the U.S. very soon, the way the numbers are going. But If you're not familiar with EFLtalks, let me tell you what we're doing. And EFLtalks has been around for 5 years now. It's teachers teaching teachers. And the whole idea behind it is helping out and building a community for everybody. Sorry if I keep looking the wrong way, because I had to switch computers. And what we do is we are doing teacher development in 10 minutes. All the speakers have only 10 minutes to talk and using only 10 PowerPoint slides. The idea of this is we're putting together all these recordings and they're available on our YouTube channel. Now this is, I think, number 25, our EFL Talk. And we've been doing this for a while. We've got, actually I have to figure it again. I think after this week, we'll have over 100 hours of videos available for teachers all over the world, and it's for free. So we've got over 300 EFL talkers now. We'll have over 450 videos. We're in over 200 countries, and I've stopped adding up the list, but we were over 1.5 million views, and I'll check it again soon and see how far we're getting. Now, everything is available on the EFL Talks YouTube channel. And anybody who comes in, if you could mute your mic, please. Thank you. Everything's on the YouTube channel. And what you can do is you can go to the site, EFLtalks.com, which will give you all the links for Facebook, for Twitter, for the YouTube channel, and you can go in by the playlist, or you can look through based on the title. We're working up a new searchable database soon, so finally we'll have one. Now, we have 181 women, 119 men, and a frog. We have 195 non-native speakers and 105 native speakers, and we're not sure about the frog. But this is important. It's been a big deal in EFL lately about parity. And we're 61% women and 65% non-nest. We were very happy to win the Eve of the Year award in 2018 for gender parity. So it's something that we do pay attention to make it fair for everybody. Now, what I'd like you to do is help us spread the word. And you can do that by doing a selfie. Now, a selfie is a selfie with EFL Talks in the background. So just grab your phone and take a picture of yourself with the screen. And if you can put that up on social media, help us spread the word. We're a non-profit. We have no money behind it. Everything is me. So we have, I put up all the money for all the broadcasts and everything. All the teachers volunteer all their time. We don't accept any sponsorship money right now. Maybe in the future as we grow, we will. But we have a great group of people in the background, which we'll talk about. Now, on Facebook, you can find us on EFL Talks. And if you are a teacher, we started EFL TD. Now this is another page where you can help and upload information for other teachers that will help them out. And we have a companion guide available. We also have the cookbook, and the proceeds from the sales of these books all go back to keep EFL Talks running, pays for the website, pays for the server, everything else. So if you can help, we would love it. And what we'd really like you to do is become an EFL Talker. So if you have an idea, get in touch, something you want to discuss, or maybe something you want to do for your Teachers Association, and let us know. Now, we're going to have a very special raffle prize today. And thanks to my friends at Regipio, which is here in Poland, we're going to raffle off at the end a set of Regipio game cards that you can use with your students. So stay tuned to the very end and we'll do the raffle. Also, we're going to have a special presentation today from my friend Guy from WordEngine.com. There's a great team challenge going on. It's a vocabulary tournament, and it's open and free to all teachers, all schools. They make up their teams, and with great prizes for the winning team. So, what you do, stand by. Guy will be here about 3/4 of the way through and explain how everything works. As I said, they say behind every great person is a great teacher. Well, I've got over 300 of them. And all these people here, if you could mute your mic, please. Thanks. All these people, graciously gave of their time, some of them multiple times, to do these EFL Talks. Okay? So, we hope to see you up on the air one day, too, if you haven't gotten there yet. And also, as you might have heard Anya mention in the video before, we're doing a little comedy thing, something different for April Fools. And I've got a bunch of men, don't complain. We do EFL Talks Women, so now men will be stepping up. And we're going to do something a little funny, something a little different. We're going through tough times as teachers. Everybody's having to learn new ways of teaching online. It's a new challenge for everyone. What better than a party? And the speakers that you see here are going to do basically 5 minutes, different ways to cheer us up, to make us laugh, to make us have some fun. So we hope you tune in Wednesday night. That's going to be 8 p.m. Wednesday night. And if you go to the EFL Talks site and Facebook page, you'll get information on that. And also for all of you women here, speaking, there's Judy, women who think you're funny, in May, probably May 6th, we want to do another one and have an all-women's lineup. So if any of you women think you're funny, get in touch with me, and we're going to put this together after we do men's night. So, we're EFL Talks, and let's get going with the show. So, the first thing we want to do is, I want to bring up Larissa. Larissa, if you can bring up your camera.
Here we go.
And first of all, this is the person who reached out to me, what was it, about 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and, I don't know why we were talking, but it was, you mentioned how bad things were in Italy at the time, and it was very serious compared to the rest of the world back then. And we decided to put this together. Thanks to you. So, a round of applause for Larissa.
No, thank you for making it happen. So, thank you. So glad to be here anyway.
All right, so if you can bring up your slides.
I will.
And I'm going to turn off my camera. Coming up. Make sure you're still co-host.
I don't know why it's not going. Let's see. Try again.
Okay, I'm not sharing, so. No screen sharing?
No? Oh, well, let's see why not. Here we go.
Yay. All right, so you got 10 minutes.
Right.
So just go into your presentation. There you go. And you're off.
Okay, so hello everybody, and I know that these times are really tough for all of us, and especially for the fact that we had to move from one day to another, from physical teaching in the classroom to online. So I think that you relate a bit to this picture. I don't know, I relate a bit for the leg hairs as well, but mainly because we tend to do blah, blah, blah in to our students, and that's the screen, so that separates us from them, which is quite difficult, especially if you're Italian and you're used to work in the classroom. But I think that we can do it differently, and it's not said that students need just to listen to us speaking. So I went through this, which is the Picrat matrix by Kimmons, and I think it's quite enlightening. So in this matrix, there are 2 points of view. We have the student's relationship to technology, which could be passive in case we just do blah, 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 but it can also be interactive and creative. Also, we have our own use of technology, which could replace the traditional practice, amplify it, or even transform it. So the activities we're going through in a moment, I've tried to avoid the passive relationship students have with technology, and mainly interactive and creative activities. So I'm sure that all the other teachers, all the other speakers will go through different topics, but as you can see from the slide, what I'm going to talk about is Instagram. So maybe you don't have an Instagram account, but I'm sure that your teenager students or young old students you have, they do use Instagram. So because I think that they feel very comfortable with this tool, with this social media, I think that we can adapt our activities to make them use Instagram for an educational purpose. So are you ready for activity 1? I hope you are. So number 1 is caption this. Caption this is an activity in which you can post a picture on Instagram, and you ask your students to caption it with a funny sentence, and then you can give a prize to the funniest one. This is a very nice one if you are practicing a particular vocabulary structure or grammar structure. And as you can see here, in this case, you can use so, enough, to, or such. I'd like to play with you the chat box. Caption this picture with a funny sentence, but please remember that you cannot be politically incorrect. So I give you 30 seconds to type your funny caption in the chat box. I like it. Shall I change the auto certification again? what's all that about? Can I go out already? I think, yeah, I think can I go out makes really sense these days. That's good. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very nice, very funny. And you can play this with your students or with your friends as well. All right, so ready for action 2. Activity 2. Activity 2 is infamous. Infamous is about famous celebrities, famous people, celebrities that your students can follow on Instagram. So this is something that it was not possible some years ago to interact with a famous person. Now, usually, famous people go live and they have an audience, and I presume that your students can be an audience for them. So you can ask them to follow the celebrities, to check their stories, try to interact, comment their posts, and then after a week you can ask them about their experience. This is a very nice activity because this is really engaging for your students because they can choose the celebrity they prefer. Activity 3 is an instant diary. When I thought about this activity, I thought about Anna Frank's diary. She was eaten somewhere and she wrote down her diary. But now things are different. So we have Instagram, so diaries are different. So they can do stories and they can share stories on their Instagram. And the good thing is that they can see their stories again and again because there is an archive. So in one here, they can still have their stories and they can read what they've written, see the pictures they've taken. So that's very, very nice because it's a long-term activity. Let's go to activity number 4. Activity number 4 is the pick of personal treasures, and in this activity we have the chance to share things which are important to us through a picture, and students can talk to each other through questions and try to make guesses about why and these items are important to them. Okay, so number 5 is instant live interviews. This activity can be done also through Zoom or in the classroom. When the learners have to work in pairs, they're going to interview each other. So especially there's going to be an interviewer and a famous person. So the problem here is that they cannot mention the name of the famous person. So when they are live and they talk to each other, the audience will listen to what they say, and they have to guess who the famous character is. Of course, as I said, you can use it through Zoom as well. So not via Instagram, but this is especially so to make students feel comfortable with something that they usually use in their daily life. And activity 6 is all about assessment. I think that something which is quite problematic at the moment here is to assess your students' progress. So I think this is a very nice one. So there are different tools you can use. You can use a quiz, like you can see in the first picture. So I haven't seen my friends today. Or you can make them feel comfortable with an emoji, and they can grade how much they know about the present perfect. Another solution could be also, yes, okay, have you got questions about present perfect? And if yes, they can ask the question. So there is a variety, I would say, of tools you can use through Instagram to assess your students' progress. So now that you can't really assess them because you can grade them or you cannot mark them, I think this is a nice activity to see their progress. I think it's, I don't know how long I have because I didn't put the timer. So Rob.
18 seconds. Go.
18 seconds. Okay. So I know that there might be problems for some schools with using social media, but what you can do is to ask your headmaster, your head teacher, to have your tool. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Larissa. That was great. And give everybody a socially distant hug for us in Italy, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Yay! I guess all we can do is virtual hugs now. All right. Thanks. That was wonderful. And thanks for the help putting this together.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next up, we'll move on to our next. Just give me a second. And we have the comedy show. If you could turn your camera and mic. Nevis. Oh, okay. The old paper in front trick. All right. So, who's running the slides?
I am. So I'm going to share straight away. Get that happening.
Let me make
Just a moment. I've there we go. Couldn't see the. Oh.
I probably have to give you.
It just said you just did. So.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm sharing screen too.
Okay.
Can you see my?
Yes, we see you. I see 4 of you.
Okay, that's good. That's not bad. That's good, is it? Can you see? Can you see the screen?
Yep. Screen's perfect. Everything's perfect. So I'm going to get out of the way, and you have 5 minutes each. So take it away.
All right. Hi, my name is Nevis, and I'm going to be sharing this presentation together with Cheryl. A little bit about Cheryl and I. We met in the Moodle for Teachers courses run by Dr. Nellie Deutsch. We began working together around 2016, and through our many online presences, we have cultivated a deep mutual respect, which has culminated into a lasting friendship and hopefully long-lasting friendship. Even if we have never met face-to-face, we regularly chat via Hangouts, sometimes for hours too. We are always sharing and learning together, broadening our horizons with our passion for lifelong learning. With that said, let's move on to the presentation. Distance learning for EFLtalks. Thanks again to Rob Howard for the invite. So the new term on everyone's lips at present in Italy is distance learning. Teachers that previously had little or no experience with online learning had to adapt overnight to something new. Then, like magic, they were expected to become adept online teachers. Suddenly, their world was turned upside down. Classes were no longer in a bustling classroom, but an online video virtual environment where teachers were trying to continue their normal teaching method in a remote location. Some quickly invented creative ways to communicate with their students, while some schools were still adopting Google Apps for education. Other schools were adopting Microsoft Teams. Others were using mobile phones. The first week was hectic and chaotic for everyone involved. The teachers, the students, the families, for the teachers and students, local communities, school headmasters, and our own Ministry of Education. However, especially here in Italy, everyone had to roll up their sleeves. Teachers got on with the job of teaching, and students, excited at first by the novelty, actually got on with the job of continuing their learning. So over to you, Cheryl.
Nevis and I will now explain how tools and ideas are an integral part of getting ready to teach online.
Let's look at the tools needed. Let's look at the tools needed for distance learning. We need to understand that when you transition to teaching online, the normal teaching techniques and methodologies do change, and dramatically so, although the teaching principles still remain the same. But you need certain devices to make sure that you can begin to teach or learn, for that matter. So good internet means understanding bandwidth, routers, Wi-Fi, or having a landline, ensuring you have reliable internet provider, knowing your upload or download limits and speeds. A computer or laptop is not just for good looks. You need the latest operating systems. You need to make sure you have regular updates, enough memory capacity, and that you can also get in touch with a reliable maintenance service. Computer skills are not just browsing, but being able to use apps, understanding how your webcam works, using a microphone and headset. A second or third monitor is also advisable for teachers, although not a last minute thing, obviously, but it is advisable. Sometimes a handheld device like a smartphone or tablet can come in handy too. It's also important to understand to create the workspace environment, not just the physical one, but the virtual one as well. Implement time management processes, take breaks, prepare suitable online didactic materials. Over to you, Cheryl.
What are your goals? To implement these goals, keep a list of bookmarks, notes, and practice activities, projects, and shared experiences, your stories. What is your superpower? What does it look like in your lesson when you are connecting with students? That is what it means to be creative. Some of us are witty, some of us are funny, some of us are earnest. Often, all of us can be all those things. That's what creativity is. That's what influences you to bring learning to your students and match their present day needs. Just outside the classroom, but understand that the entire world is your classroom. Engage, motivate, and encourage. Find any way you can to encourage your students to understand what the growth mindset is. Teach them, by example, that it's possible for them to learn what you're teaching. Help them suspend judgment until they try something new. If they fail, encourage them to ask for help. Yes, ask for help. Can we do that? That's why we're all here together. A critical concept is that you must believe that improvement is always possible. That is what growth mindset is all about. If you believe that our students can improve, you must put yourself into someone else's situation. The most important attribute teachers can have is to believe that humans can change their behavior. That is, they can learn. We must find ways to make that happen. Is to have respect for the human condition and all its needs. All these skills can be improved with thoughtful practice. To have respect for others requires us to have respect for our own capabilities. Positive self-care is a key component of our work in teaching and learning. Always find ways to make learning fun, even if you're just sharing silly stories about yourself. Nevis and I believe humans have the innate capacity to learn and grow in their positive belief in themselves and the work they accomplish. These are the central findings of the growth mindset research. As teachers, it's the core of what we believe about student learning and student progress. It's teaching. Let students know that you're interested in their work. Immediate feedback is best, but not always possible. Explain your assessment process so students will have an idea what to expect in the timing and the process of feedback. Over to you, Nevis.
The live on lesson is not just about teaching, but it's also a moment to reach out and create that human interface that is so often missing when studying alone online. The teacher should always have their webcam and mic open at the beginning of the class at least, and allow for the students to interact during the live lesson. So cut down the teacher talk. You can set up a Google Doc or Google Sheet if you can't keep up with the chat during the live meet, and allow students to add their comments or questions in that Google Sheet. Teachers can also keep an eye on the comments using a handheld device or screen share at certain points to catch up on the questions and comments in the live lesson. Over to you, Cheryl.
Whatever you choose to do with your students and how they choose to react, respond, and create are an interplay of all the small and large choices that you make. Over to you, Nevis.
And that sums it up. Remember that even if online teaching and learning are new to you, don't be afraid to learn new ways of teaching your subject. Remember, that's why you are a teacher. We try out new things all the time. That's part of teaching and learning. Thank you for listening to us talking about our experience of teaching and learning online. Thanks to you, Rob. Back to you. Did we do it in 10 minutes?
Yeah, you actually did it in about 8 minutes.
Oh, cool.
A new world record.
For us.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to stop the share now.
Great. Well, thanks you two, and you forget that's where you guys met me too.
True.
We met in Moodle years ago, and so that was great. It's good to see, and like we said, we all met years ago. There's some other people here too that we met through Nellie Deutsch, and I hope that someday people say this about EFL Talks and about me, and we've already had some collaborations come out of it, so Nellie was a great inspiration for all of us, and we continue. So, thanks you guys.
Ciao from Italy.
Ciao. Arrivederci.
Good morning from America.
Okay, great. So, let's move on to our next speaker. And there you are. Okay.
Hello.
Hi. Bear with me for a second. Make sure that you have control of the slides. Yep, you do. And Stefania, where are you now? Are you in Italy now?
Hello, everybody. Hi, Rob. Yes, I live in northeast Italy on the border between Veneto and Friuli, and this is my 25th day of quarantine with very stringent restrictions every single day. So nice to be here. And breaking rules in the classroom, the usual rules and the alternative rules, and let's learn the value of both, because I've chosen some activities that I use face-to-face with my classes and turn them into something that we can also use online, mainly with my university students on the topic of creativity and breaking rules. So I'd like to start with a poem written by Alan Maley called Outside the Box. And it goes like this. Being inside the box was comfortable, warm and cozy. We curled up with cushions of routine, weighted with words, blanketed by books, swaddled in certainties, a bit stuffy perhaps. And we sometimes felt cramped. But never mind, we were so used to it that it felt normal. and, as I said, comfortable. Out here we are exposed and cold winds blow. We need to hold on tight, keep our eyes open for sudden snow squalls, hidden crevices. It's a precarious existence now, but here we can move and breathe, see clear to the far horizon. And if we come to a cliff, we know we can step off it into empty air, trusting it to bear us up. We have no fear of falling. So the importance of being creative and instead of the usual question, how are you today? What weather are you today? So what weather are you today? And here the students can send a picture. They can simply say sunny or partly cloudy. And this is a great way also for us teachers to gauge the atmosphere of what our students are feeling like. And then I was thinking about an activity that I do with only using 5 words of conversation. And this is yes, no, you. And this is to challenge our students. If they're using their cell phones, for example, they are used to texting. So they can go, yes, yes, me, no, you. It can be either through texting or they can do it online because many of them Skype together the whole time. The other activity that is quite useful also in a creative classroom is the following, where I give them 2 pictures and I ask them to prepare a dialogue. 1 word is partner A and 2 words goes to partner B writes 2 words, and then partner A writes 3 words, partner B writes 4 words, until you get to a little dialogue of 7 words. And this can be a live chat. An example can be Mona Lisa saying, relax. Why? How? You look tired. Exhausted, broken into pieces. Fancy going to chill out tonight? Smart move. Just what I desperately need. We can then go on to asking questions, which is another way of conversation. We always ask questions to other people. We ask questions about the world. But do we ever speak to daffodils? Do they ever answer? Can you trust snowmen? And why do lions have manes? So many people would be embarrassed if caught speaking about this. But in creative writing, it is necessary to go through that threshold. And this can be, again, just letting go of one's creativity. Now, language as pictures. Wow, this is really exciting for students, where they can write a sentence in hieroglyphics and ask the teacher online can write sentences in hieroglyphics and ask the students to send their translation of it in English, and then they can do vice versa. You can have them write a language in a new language, just for sheer formation of the sentence. This picture writing will help them a lot. They won't feel they're being corrected the whole time, but yet they are producing language. Venn diagrams, mathematics. Wow, some logical thinking where they've got to find similarities and differences, this will definitely, again, trigger off their fantasy and their creativity. For example, perhaps Marge Simpson's plastic surgeon got carried away when she wanted some plastic surgery done, while the lady with the pearl earring is naturally young and beautiful. But they both are very charming ladies. We then go on to another activity, which is tongue twister exchanges, which they can practice on their own, making up their own tongue twisters, working on phonetics for the more advanced students to practice. And they're practicing in a fun way. All you need to do is ask them to get out of their comfort zone and make up their own tongue twisters. The next activity is taken from Paul Davies and Mario Rimbolukri dictations, firing questions, which is great online because here we need two voices. For example, something awful's happened. What's the S mean? And they answer, something awful has happened. What? What's the punctuation? A question mark. I've lost my keys. And this is how we can continue. Doing what we normally do in the classroom, but in a more creative way. And last but not least, is you're on holiday. Well, okay, you're not on holiday at the moment, but write a postcard, only using nouns and adjectives. And if I were to write a postcard to the colleagues I've just heard, I would say, amazing work, wonderful colleagues, beautiful blue sky, great place, and thank you very much for listening. A big virtual hug to everybody. Thank you. Rob, was that very long, very short?
No, it was great. 9 minutes. Very good. For your first time, that's great. But you have somebody next to you kicking you, telling you it's 9 minutes, right?
My daughter.
I know.
I'd like to send you all a big hug and thank you very much for this. This is something we really need here. My biggest wish is for all of you from wherever you are, that it won't hit you so hard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hang in there.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye.
Okay, so we're moving on. And we're staying positive. And next up, we have my friend Danny. Where are you? Oh, not you, guy. But I know you're here. Danny is still here. Okay. Well, we seem to have lost our speaker. Maybe internet. All right, so we're going to move ahead. Daniela? Nope. That's Guy.
Yes, yeah.
Hi, okay. Yeah, we seem to have lost Danny somewhere. So maybe his internet went out.
Okay. Can share my screen.
Okay. And
hello, everyone.
okay, so let me just give you 10 minutes, and well, this is what, your third one, right?
Yeah.
Third EFL talk?
Yes, it does.
Good. So you're an old pro, you know what to do. You know I have the timer. So
Okay, I have the timer, 10 minutes. Okay.
great. Okay.
Can I start?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so hello everyone. Thanks, Rob, for inviting me. I think that this is a huge moment for all of us because we need to stay together and to widespread our ideas and resources at this such difficult time of the year. I want to start with the quotation from a book, Teaching in a Digital Age, because I think that Tony Bates giving it for free online gave us a great opportunity because it offers teachers and instructors a lot of ideas for designing teaching and learning, and this helps students to develop their knowledge and skills they need in a digital age, which is so difficult for most of us. And it is not only a book that it is about IT skills, but it is about thinking and attitude to learning. That is what we need at the moment. And I also like this graphic representation of the difficult role of the teacher nowadays, because I think that we are facing such a different situation through this teaching distance, teaching at distance, and because we have to consider so many aspects of our context. So we have, first of all, to consider our learners' characteristics. So we have students that have different backgrounds, and this can be increased when they are online, not only because they have different equipments and different devices, but they have different styles of learning. And we have to consider the content that we are offering to these students. We have to prepare it in advance, trying to find different solution channels, e-learning platforms, and also because we are English language teachers, and we need to consider that they have to develop the 5 different abilities. And then so we have also to promote soft skills such as critical thinking, and behaving in different heterogeneous groups. And we have to give them in a scaffolding strategy the support they learn. So how to find out resources, how to prepare content, how to develop skills, how to meet different learning activities, and more than that, how to assess this, because the school now is facing, I think, until the end of the year, this situation. So we have to find a solution to just give our evaluation our students at the end of this terrible year. But I think that this visual well represents different possibilities and different aspects that we have to take into consideration, except for something that is the right consideration, not only of e-learning environments, of communication channels, but not they have to be chosen correctly according to what I said before: learning needs, learning requirements, learning prerequisites, and so on. But we also have to enhance situations or moments of interaction with our students. What they need at this time of the year is social and emotional interactions. So it is not only a matter of giving a distance learning, but I think that it is our job to behave as educators. And to do that, we need to establish situations and moments. Learning, I don't say spaces, but places. And the difference in these two terms, between these two terms, is in the fact that while a space is just a physical environment, we have to create relationship with them, and to do that, a place where relationships and interaction, collaboration, cooperation, communication start and go on every day. So what is important is the context of reference to set any kind of activity online. Then we can select the best learning environment, the best communication tools. We can prepare contents according to students' need and to the students' competencies. We can exploit so many creativity tools and software to plan and to design our e-learning courses. But more than this, we have to be very careful, because this is the only moment that we can be with our students and help them to think that it is a situation that is near to any normal situation. So, first of all, I say that we can have learning activities and e-learning places. More than this, I could talk about Moodle, Wakelet, whatever we can talk, but I think that the only right place is where we can have interaction with our students. This is the reason why I selected some of the many possible solutions for setting e-learning with our students and promote distant learning. And I can say that these are a sort of scenarios that help us to face new changes that drive the situation now, and to reflect on the relationship that we can have with our students. This brain pop is something very nice, because I also selected some of the resources that are for free at this particular moment. It implies that traditionally, usually they do not offer any free plans for teachers. Now they are offering that according to the difficult situation. So exploit the moment and try to use these new platforms that are very powerful for us as teachers and for students. Brain Pop gives not only professional development resources, but also a lot of tools and features that support learning. So teachers can be connected online and share content and activate communication channels. Then we have Peer Deck. That is nice because it has a powerful aspect that because it connects with other existing video conferencing software created by and made at disposal by Google, Microsoft, and Zoom. So we know that most of our teachers in Italy have e-learning platforms together with webinar conferences. So this is the right place to combine the two. It's just one place. Then we have Wakelet that promotes remote learning, also for some particular aspects, such as the one I prefer is storytelling. It gives us the tools to create digital storytelling and fictional stories. Then also Bouncy that enhances creation through remote learning, and students can share their presentations and their representation of content. They can be graded and according to the different levels, and this is also very important because we can have an only platform for everyone, but we have considered to consider the different situation of our our students. And it is also what Mobido does, because it is a sort of adaptive programs and personalized learning. So it is wonderful for our special educational needs students when we want to set up new programs for them. I said at the beginning that it is important as EFL teachers to consider also the promotion, the enhancing of different abilities. At this time of the year where it is difficult to have online lessons for all the timetable that we are supposed to cover during the school year, it is important also to give students the opportunity to study alone, but also to have fun. And what else, as instead of having a listening to some podcasts, the word podcast becomes is a sort of a learning to listening and acquiring content together. And these are some possible of many podcasts that we can consider. Then the same is with reading. Students can read text as a recreative moment, and these are some opportunities. Here we have Mrs. P that tells stories. Open Library, Barnes, and Amazon give free online books to read. But you can also write stories with your students, and these are possible solutions. Book creators gives you the opportunity, as you see in the picture, to write your own books. Comment Bubble gives you the chance to comment and debate on that, and also on videos. And the same is with dot storming. But you can also speak, and vocal tales, voice thread, parlay are all round tables or places where people are all together at the same time to comment on some digital contents they have heard about. After that, we have the wonderful world of open educational resources. Please have a look at these spaces. We have Open Educational Resource Commons. We have Open Learning Initiative, that is a movement to widespread initiative. We have Europeana, that gives at your disposal a repository of contents, historical and cultural heritage contents. And the same is with Google Arts and Culture, where you can have a three-dimensional visiting of these places and then go beyond beyond your class with Discover Education that has offered an opportunity nowadays. Well, we have lots of resources, but we also have students to play games, and gamification can be a good opportunity for them to enjoy themselves. Last but not least, we can to create this time of the year a learning community, both for teachers and both for students. And these are examples of how we can enhance our lifelong learning, but also our life-wide learning, sharing contents with peers, and also to develop new values in a perspective of life deep learning. I hope that I didn't go over the 10 minutes, but I had so many materials and contents to share that I tried to cover all the different aspects of my presentation. Thank you, Rob, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. That's why I let you go, because I knew you had a lot of great resources on here. And for people, if it went too fast for you, remember these are being recorded, and they'll be available, so you can always go back and look at the slides and get some good ideas. But Daniela, thanks so much as always, and good luck there. Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for inviting me. It was nice.
Always a pleasure to have you. Okay. Very good. All right, so we're gonna move on, and let's see. Give me a second. And let me find Danny is back. I hope. Danny. There it is. All right, Danny, if you can put on your camera, and there you go. And I gave you control, so welcome back. Okay, remember, start your PowerPoint.
Yeah, hang on, Bob. I've got to find my PowerPoint again. Hang on.
Okay.
Just a sec.
So,
Need to reopen it again.
All right. Yeah, Danny had
I always have technical problems.
No, not a problem at all.
Okay, so that's opening up. Okay, presentazione.
See, he speaks Italian. I'd say paisano, but I'm not Italian. But
okay, right. Share screen. Let's see if it works. Share.
Coming up. Great. It's there.
Okay.
All right, Danny. Thanks so much for being here. Danny's singing in. I've got the timer, so take it away, my friend.
Okay, hello to everybody. Thanks for being here. Welcome from Rome, sunny Rome. The subject of this presentation is bringing humor into the classroom. Now, the first thing is people ask, why do you need to bring humor into the classroom? Well, humor is one of those things like music, like movement, which helps to facilitate memory. So when students hear something that's amusing, something that's funny, a funny story, they'll usually remember the event and all the language that goes with it. So that's the idea. How you bring humor into the classroom is obviously entirely your choice. You can come in and tell jokes every lesson like I do, or you can use slides, which I'm going to show you now. The thing about humor is, remember, humor is subjective. So something I might find funny, you might not. So among these slides, you might find at least one that you think, I like that, I'm going to use it. You might find one that you don't find funny at all. That's fine, that's not a problem. I'm just going to show you the slides and how I would use them with my students. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so the first one here, you can probably see it. You've probably seen it before. It says, who says teaching is stressful? I'm 39 and I feel great. And this is a young lady who is quite obviously showing that teaching is not stressful at all. Now, the reason this is funny, of course, is because the lady does not look 39 years old at all. But what I would do is I would ask my students, first of all, how old is she? Now, most of you watching might sort of come out with a more or less similar answer. But if you consider how your views on age has changed during your development in life, you ask a child, how old is this lady? You might well find that they give a different answer to what you might, similarly a teenager. So don't be surprised if someone says something like, oh, she's so old, she's about 46, 47 or something like that. The other thing I would use this for is where it says teaching is stressful. If your students agree that teaching is stressful, get them to make a list of why teaching is stressful. And then just to balance it, show what things do you think maybe would be satisfying for a teacher. And if you have students who say, no, teaching is not stressful at all, you have a very easy life, you have all these holidays, long holidays, and short hours, get them to write their list of why they think teaching is easy, an easy job, and they'll love it. They'll come out with 100 different reasons why teaching is easy, get them to make the list, and then just go through each one with them individually and explain to them that it's not quite so black and white. Okay, next slide here, I don't know if you can see it well. It's on a plane. God knows when I'll be able to use a plane again. There's a stewardess who is serving tea and coffee, and she asks the classic question, coffee or tea? And somebody replies, coffee. And she says, wrong, it's tea. Now, you can make a lot of stuff out of this because coffee, just think of in Italy how many different kinds of coffees there are. And in even in England, there are not so many coffees, but there are still quite a variety if you go to a coffee shop. And how many kinds of teas are there? Again, unlimited. You could go on forever there. But what I find most interesting about coffee and tea is the cultural aspect. In Italy, coffee is very, very important, not for the actual substance, but for bonding. When I teach one-to-one students, every lesson they are coming to me. They're not saying, "Good morning, Danny," and start the lesson. They're saying, "Good morning, Danny, let's go for coffee." And I'm getting through 5, 6 coffees a day, and I feel obliged to go, even though I've had more coffees than I need, and I'm shaking. It's a bonding thing. Similarly, how important is tea in England? That's very, very important cultural aspect. Anytime there's a problem, a fight, tea, have a cup of tea, and that's solved. So tea and coffee are both very interesting culturally. Moving on to the next slide. Do you think I'm a bad mother, Mike? My name is Jeff. This one here I would use to maybe get them to make a list of what makes a good mother. We're trying to be positive. You might get somebody who says, "I have a good mother because she makes me pancakes every Sunday," and then of course the other students might say, "Well, actually, my mother's a bad mother because she doesn't make me pancakes every Sunday." But let's try and get them to all make lists of what makes, in their opinion, a good mother, and they can make a list of a bad mother too, just again to get the balance right. But if you could do this with parents as well, that would be interesting. What parents think are good mothers or good fathers, just to get both points of view. I always like to get both points of view in a situation, and not just have it as a one-sided thing. This one is one of my favorites. So one guy says, "It's windy today," and the other guy says, "No, it's Thursday." And then the third guy says, "So am I, let's have a beer." So you've got these misunderstandings here with words which sound similar, and they're all a bit deaf. I would get students to actually make their own little sketches here, something Larissa talked about in her talk, where you could maybe get them to create their own caption and use situations where they have been misunderstood before, either in English or even in their own language, because it happens all the time. So you could have a lot of fun with this particular slide. This again is one of my favorites. You've got a man and a woman on a beach, beautiful sunset, romantic situation, and the guy says, "I just don't know how to say this to you," and the girl replies, "Just say it." And she's expecting him to say something like, "I love you, will you marry me," whatever, and he comes out with "Worcestershire," one of the most difficult unpronounceable words for Italian students. So again, you could use this to make captions as well. Or what I would do first of all, get them to make a list of the words that they find most difficult to pronounce in English. Like the usual the Leicesters and all kinds of strange words that are completely different from how they're spelt. And then again, you can make captions or funny situations, cartoons out of it. Okay. Next slide here. Who is the Queen? So you've got 3 young ladies there saying they're the Queen. Then the Queen Elizabeth herself comes in and says, "Ha ha ha, those bitches." And finally, there's Freddie Mercury, the great man, who says, "Ladies, please." The Queen, you could talk about her, you could do a whole course on the Queen with what she's been through in the last year. One son being involved with Jeffrey Epstein, another one being infected, grandchild deciding he doesn't want anything to do with the royal family anymore and he's leaving. You could do a whole series of lessons on Freddie Mercury as well. So there's a whole lot of material there. Going back again to something Larissa said in her talk, you could get people to interview as well. So again, these are 2 famous people, Freddie Mercury and the Queen. So you could bring that in as well, getting people to interview these famous people and what kind of questions you would want to ask. Okay, next slide. Yeah, this one, I don't actually find this one that funny, but I put it in here because a lot of people have told me they think it's funny. Now, it's me eating an ice cream, basically. I don't know why it's funny. It might be because the ice cream seems to be sort of almost in my face. I don't know. First question here is to try and guess what flavors I am eating. Now, that's pretty difficult because there's actually 3 scoops, and each scoop is a mix of 3 different flavors and aromas. So you've got about 9 or 10 flavors in there. So I think to guess all 10 would be quite difficult. But I would go on here to obviously what's your favorite ice cream, which most people like talking about. And another thing with this is from the title you see, ice cream, or ice cream. Again, this is another fantastic example of English where you can say exactly the same thing and it can have 2 different interpretations. So get them to be aware of that. Again, you can make one of these pictures or cartoon things where you use expressions which have exactly the same sound. And then here we have this one, which again, some of you may have seen before. 2 girls speaking. Do you pray before you eat? No, we are Italian. My mum knows how to cook. So the question I would ask here is, why do you think Italian food is considered one of the best cuisines in the world, if not the best, among your students? And of course, they'll have their own reasons as to why. But then I think you could extend that with asking, getting them to find out about Italians who are, non-Italians, what they think. So whether they be non-Italians living in Italy or non-Italians living abroad. Because many non-Italians also love Italian food, but they have different reasons for feeling so. And that, again, that's a cultural thing. If you ask an American living in the States, he may well say that it's because he loves the spaghetti with meatballs. But of course, most Italians would be absolutely disgusted by hearing that. But again, that's a cultural thing as to why that is. And finally, the last slide here. This is about the whole educational system here. We've got what you do in class, 2 + 2 is 4. The homework a little bit more difficult, 2 + 4 + 2 = 8. And then what you get in the exams, Michael has 4 apples, his train is 7 minutes early. Calculate the mass of the sun. So you could have a big discussion there about what people have in their exams, how much it relates to what they've done in class. And especially now that kids are at home especially, are they actually learning more practical, real things at home with their parents than they do at school? Not because it's the teacher's fault, but because of what the school or the education system creates. Thank you, Rob.
Great. You did. Great job. Did it like a pro. And I thank you for being here as always, Danny. I appreciate it. And very positive things which we can bring into the class, which I think is more important than ever right now. And I don't like spaghetti and meatballs. Like Dutch. All right, my friend. Thanks so much. And we'll talk soon.
Yep.
Okay. Bye now. And jumping at the bit is Lucy. Hang on, let me get all the controls up for you, Lucy.
Oh, it says it disabled. Is it second?
Yeah, I gotta find you in the list here and give you permission. Or else we'd be having everybody changing everyone's slides. Hang on. There you are. Okay, now you should have it. And let's turn it off. And great. So I think we're all set. Just F5. Wonderful. So, all ready to go?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find how to get the chat back up.
It's gonna be kind of hard. Watch.
Okay, that's fine.
Watch for the pop-ups.
Okay.
Yeah, and you ready to? I'll give you 10 minutes. Where are you now?
Okay.
Physically, where are you?
I'm in Reggio Calabria. It's right on the toenail of Italy.
Oh, okay. And same thing down there? Everything's the same?
Yeah, it's not as bad as up north. So far fewer cases. So yeah, I mean it's quite a bit better, but apparently it's moving down south now. So, but we went into lockdown quite early in the early stages here. So hopefully that'll improve the situation.
All right. Well, we wish you luck with that. And 10 minutes. Wrong computer. You see, I knew I'd be on the wrong computer. 10 minutes.
Yeah, because I'm planning to go over.
Okay, so take it away.
Okay, so I'm Lucy, I'm in Reggio Calabria, and I absolutely love puzzles. And one of the puzzles that I like the most and I like to use in class are brain teasers. And when I moved, I used them in the face-to-face classroom, and then when we moved online, somebody gave me a really good piece of advice, which was to, just do online what you did in the face-to-face classroom as much as possible. So don't go in and try and be all techie. Just do what you normally do in the classroom. So I'm using brain teasers online as well. And I was torn today between kind of giving you just 2 brain teasers and giving you the time to work them out, or giving you 5 or 6 brain teasers that you can then use in class yourselves, but rushing through them so you won't really have much time to work them out. I went for the latter, so I do apologise if you don't have time to actually get the answer, but hopefully you'll be able to use them in class. So let's get started. Now this is quite similar to something that Stefania was talking about when she mentioned students writing sentences in hieroglyphics and then translating them. What I'm going to show you now is a couple of questions where some of the words have been replaced with emojis. Now emojis, as you probably know, are an absolute gift for the language classroom. So let's have a look and see if you can work out and type in the chat box, if I can see it. Type in the chat box what you think the full question is. So have a look at that. What do you think the full question is? Any ideas? I'm going to go move forward. So it's actually, I mean, the first one is why. So that question mark is why. Why are brain, that's a picture of a brain, if you can see it. Why are brain teasers and puzzles good? Yeah, great. Okay, thanks, Cheryl. Why are brain teasers and puzzles good for? Now, this emoji was actually teaching. This is what came up as teaching. And great, yeah, could be students as well. Let's have a look at the second one. Hopefully, whoops. Okay. Now, this is a little more tricky because I don't think you'd necessarily be able to guess what the little icons are with the arrows and the people. So I'm going to tell you that is actually how can, that's a picture of a can. The first emoji there is how can we use them in class? Okay, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Now, these little puzzles, what I do with these in class is I use a website called Emoji Translate, and it's very simple. What you do is you type in the text and then it gives you a translation in emojis. Now, as you can see from my examples there, you can't translate all of the words into emojis, so it will be a mixture of words and emojis. But sometimes I will just have that up at the start of the lesson and with the target language of the lesson. So students, when they start, they can kind of work it out together and so on. Or I might get students to work on Emoji Translate either as a homework or during the class. They'll type in a sentence, they'll translate it, and then they'll share, using the screen share option, their emoji sentence with the others who have to type their answer into the chat box, just like you did. So that's also, it's quite nice as well for the students who have more difficulty reading words and letters, because you've got that kind of picture there as well. Okay, so moving on, why should we use brain teasers in class? Now, I love brain teasers because they've got a lot of non-linguistic benefits. So, for example, the reason I used to use them in face-to-face class, and specifically at the start of a lesson, would be because students nowadays, especially, you know, coming into class, they're on their phone, they've got a million things going on in their head. They're really in their own little bubbles. So what I want to do when I bring them into class is to get the group aligned. I want the group to be looking at each other, talking to each other, and actually joining together as a group. And this is even more important in the online environment where, and again, you know, Stefania read this beautiful poem by Alan Maley about outside the box. Well, what we find now where our students are in these little boxes here on Zoom or Hangouts or whatever, we want to kind of bring them out of the box and connecting with each other. So I do like to do that at the start of the lesson and tell them, okay, it's your class aim is to find the answer to this brain teaser, which I share on the screen. And then they can talk about it amongst themselves, or all of them unmuted, or they can do it in the chat.
I don't know why, nothing here should be echoing.
And so yeah, it connects the learners. It's also very inclusive. So I might be using more kind of rebus or picture puzzles with students who perhaps, I mean, that's quite good for students who have learning differences, who maybe can work out
if I turn the volume down,
than words.
I'm afraid that'll
also, it keeps all the learners busy while waiting for late arrivals. So something that a colleague of mine, Lisa Wilson in Palermo, was suggesting with young learners was at the start of the lesson, just have a word search shared on your screen. And you tell the students, when you find a word in the word search, type it in the chat box.
Giovanni and Valentina.
All the class together can get all of the words into the chat box, and then hopefully by the time they've done that, everybody will have arrived and you're ready to start the lesson. Okay, then it also gets learners into English mode in a fun way at the start of the lesson, and it develops several of these 20-30 skills. I think maybe it was Daniela who was talking about the soft skills. So just to remind you, these 20-30 skills are the skills that we'll need in the workplace in the year 2030. So these ones here in the final column are the skills that we'll need. And brain teasers work a lot with complex problem solving, cognitive flexibility, creative thinking, and several of those skills. So it's really useful for them as well. But linguistically, why should we use brain teasers? Well, brain teasers can review vocabulary, they can work on grammar, pronunciation, listening, reading, writing, so that it can really help develop them in their language as well. Here's one for you to try now. So have a look at that. If you've got any ideas there, can you type the letter into the chat box? And as I say, I'm going to rush through because we don't have much time. So the answer is actually C, because my daughter's mother is me, so daughter, and I use that for reviewing family lexis and possessive S as well. It works really well with the Italian students there. Now, here's another one, this time with numbers. Now, you're probably not going to be able to work it out. It took me a long time to work out the answer, but I'm going to tell you the answer, which is 1029. And the reason for that is that actually it's connected to time. A bit topical today with the clocks going forward. Now, the reason it's connected to time is because 355 is 3:55, which can also be said 5 to 4, 5 to 4. 12:35 can also be said 25 to 1, 25 to 1, and so on. Okay, so that's quite a nice one as well for using to review numbers and different ways of telling the time. Talking about clocks again, whoops, what does the clock do when it's hungry? And as Danny said, I mean, if you're using humour in the classroom, it does help students to remember the language. And this is a kind of jokey puzzle. So what does a clock do when it's hungry? It goes back 4 seconds. Okay, so I can almost hear the virtual groans. But of course, this is nice because it's kind of working with polysemy, because you've got the seconds that has 2 different meanings. And also with pronunciation, because depending on the meaning of the word seconds in that sentence, you would be stressing the words in the sentence in a different manner. So 4 would either be pronounced 4 or with the schwa for seconds. Okay. Another one here, you might have already seen this one, it's quite a famous one. What 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? And the answer is, of course, short. Okay. Oops, sorry. Sorry. Okay, so short, because short plus the 2 letters E and R equals shorter. And of course, I would be using that for reviewing comparatives. Okay, next up, have a look at these sentences. Which one is the odd one out? Again, this one would normally take a lot longer to work it out. And I'm going to tell you that the odd one out is actually number 4. David understands cute kittens, because the first letter of every word in that sentence spells duck, whereas the first letter of every word in the other sentences spells an irregular verb in English. So swam, went, felt, and broke. Okay, so that I'd be using to test irregular verbs. And finally, because I know that Rob's going to cut me off in a minute, okay, we've also got a can you find. So this kind of picture puzzle is quite good as well for people who don't want to see words. There are 12 animals in there. I'm going to rush through it and go on to the final part, which is where students make their own brain teaser. And this is a model that I use for them then to make their own little brain teaser, which is one of these where they have to find the letters of a word from the clues. So the first letter is in today, but it's not in the word yesterday. The second letter is in nice, but it's not in the word ice cream, and so on. If anybody can guess what the word is very quickly. I will tell you, because we're running out of time, so I will tell you that the word is online, okay, which is a topical word for the moment. And this kind of thing can really help the students with lexis and writing, and really gets them focusing on the words and the spelling as well. Okay, so thank you, and thank you, Rob, for giving me the opportunity, and sorry for going over time. I hope I have given you some food for thought, and if you do want some more brain teasers, there are some there that you can find online at that link, or you can email me. I'll put my email in the chat box, and I'll give you some more brain teasers to use in class. Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks so much. That was great, Lucy. And good luck there. Hope everybody stays well. Okay.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, everybody.
Right. Thanks again. All right, so let's move on. And, oh, you read my mind.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. How did you know? You could tell.
I know you. I read your mind.
Yeah. Well, let me take a minute before you start. Just there's a few people that were going to be here with us. If you saw some of the original posters, Sarah Howell ended up stuck in the UK, and she sends her love to everybody. Elizabeth had some other problems, and I think we have 2 of the speakers we expected today may not be here, but we hope that everything is fine with everybody's family, and wish everyone good health and good luck. So now you can bring the audience back up, Sabrina. So make sure you unmute. You're still muted. Here, I'll unmute you. All right, you're unmuted now. No? How are you muted again?
Hang on.
There you are.
I know I'm here.
Yep, we know
And
you're
my
here.
Zoom, yeah, but my Zoom, there you are. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, let's back this glitch, but glitches are the most frequent thing when you teach online. So start getting used to this, everybody. If you're actually going and teach online, let's see if I manage to go with this F11. That should give us a nice full screen. Here we are. Okay.
Very good.
Everything is ready.
Okay, so remember 10 minutes.
Like I'm going to set it with that together with you. So, all righty. You tell me when we start.
Okay. On your mark, get set, go.
Go. So hello everybody. Thanks Rob for inviting me here. Today we're going to speak about hardware ABC and essential software to move online. I'm here to reassure all of you, those of you that have never taught online, maybe they're just a bit uncomfortable with it. Actually, you need so much techie and so many skills, but you guys want to start thinking at the online, and then the basic software we may need to work on that. And this is need to work on. What is hardware? Hardware is all the equipment that you can measure whenever something is going wrong. Right? Anything hard to do piece of video what you're doing when you're working online. Okay. We can speak about the hardware, maybe more over the work environment where you're going to be working every day if you start working online. So to have a nice and comfortable, feel confident and prevent most of the glitches that you may come across, I'd say that your hardware should be affordable, attractive, bright, clean, clear, comfortable, and capable. Why? Affordable. You don't need to have who knows what kind of cutting-edge computer, but you cannot even have a computer from 1982, probably. So have a look at if it's very, very old, try to buy a new one. But if if it goes with the internet, fine, go. Affordable means also that you may need to invest in something. So maybe the headset, maybe some keyboard, maybe. So consider a little investment. Maybe also in the bandwidth if you want to make sure that you don't have any problems with the connection. So consider this just to make sure that you prevent all the glitches that you can come across. It must be attractive. And that means not your computer, but you and the way you look on the screen. Yep. What does this mean? It means that you can just spend many hours with your students. So you want them to feel you're close to them, right? And that you are in a nice. We're all at home now, so okay. We don't expect to have who knows what kind of background behind us, or who knows how nice and every day. But yeah, consider your background. Nice and tidy. That's all. I like it colorful, and I like to say that I'm an English teacher. So if you see my background, that clearly say that. So personalize it as much as you can, as you want, because make it your space where actually also the background should reflect yourself. Yeah. Make it attractive also means the camera. Think of the inclination of the camera. Don't go with the camera like this. You know, you want to look at your students in their eyes. And together with that, I'll tell you that whenever you look at the students, you may be looking down here. If I want to look at you guys, you're down here. So sometimes look directly at the camera because you want them to feel you're actually talking directly to them. like now I'm doing. I'm watching directly the little dot up there. I'm not really watching the faces down here. If I had some faces, I don't know. Anyway. And another way of saying you must be attractive, be careful with light. Try to have it not behind you, but in front of you, okay? Look. When I say the hardware should be clear, we're talking about the sound. Yes, buy a pair of headsets. No matter this one's from the mobiles work very well. I usually have mine with the microphone, which today is playing tricky games with me, so I left it somewhere else. And when I say clear, also I'd say, I don't know if you've ever experienced that really irritating noise of the keys of the keyboard typing. Yeah, so you may want to consider and buy a Bluetooth one, so that whenever you're writing things for your students, they know actually it costs nothing. It's just that, but so that they don't hear those noisy, clunky noises that are not very nice and comfortable. Your hardware must be comfortable, and when I say comfortable, I mean clean and tight and everything, but also think of your chair. You're going to spend many hours on it, probably. Yeah, planning and giving the lessons and everything. Think about it. It must be super comfortable. And cabled. Make sure that if you can, cable the computer to your internet router, or at least make sure that whatever you are, the internet is good. When I say clean, we're talking about environment around here, and so your work environment, but also your computer. Clean it up often, because that makes it faster. Okay, and this said, again, when I say attractive, you can still and always wear your best pajama underneath, always underneath. Okay. With this, we can start talking about software. What about the software? We need 3 software, main software. So ABC as easy as 1, 2, 3 clicks away. The first click, we need it for a video conference tool. There are many nowadays, and most of them have the chat box and the chat box system and the video in front of you. So those are the main important things. You really can have lessons just with that and working with your own material, and the screen sharing too. Other things you want to consider maybe is about whether you're working with groups or individuals. If you're working with groups, maybe you want to consider some tools that actually allow you for breakout rooms, so that you can get students to work in pairs. And it could be Google Hangout, Google Meet, or Zoom, and others. But consider, so if you can create the breakout rooms, consider also how many participants are allowed in the class. Consider also time restrictions. Having the group, if you have some restrictions in time, or if better, you need to upgrade the pricing plan and go for some paid option. Consider also what kind of control you have over the participants. Should you mute them? Should you? Let's go on, because time is running up quick. So consider also the participants, what kind of control you have over the participants. The second click is your browser, which is that app that allows you to enter the internet, but also to have a nice library organized in the bookmarks. Once you start teaching online, you will have plenty of materials. You can see all the tips here are giving us great websites to go and work with. You want them organized in bookmarks in your browser so that they are easily accessible. So play and explore how to organize your bookmarks in your browser. Together with, and don't confuse the browser with the web page with the search engine, because search engines are places where you go and look for specific pages, but it's yahoo.com, google.com. So sometimes people confuse the browser, which is a software, and a web page, which is the search engine page, which is a web page. The third click, you need to save probably material somewhere. Maybe you want to keep track of the lessons. Maybe you want to, also you want the students to upload some material. So think about having cloud storage for you to share with the students. Most of them, today, the most popular ones are Google Drive, OneDrive, and Dropbox. Many people have at least an account with one of these three. There are many other programs that you could use, web apps that you could use, but still, think of a place where you can store and you can save material and you can have a shared document with them. Rather than having every time on a video conference, having a different whiteboard, for example, you could use always the same one document for all your course. And so all the students can get back there and check their progress, see what they've done, and never miss anything from the lessons, from the previous lessons. The only difference here you see is about the gigabytes. When you have no more clicks available because probably the connection is bad, and I said technical glitches will always happen when you teach online, go and rely on other tools, which is, it could be the instant messaging app. If you use WhatsApp, if you use Telegram, or if you use Facebook Messenger, be sure that apart from the video conference tool, you have some other ways to reach for your students so that the lesson can still go on. Have some sort of backup plan. And on top of this, having these kind of tools makes it also easier to engage with the students, feel the void that we have while teaching online. I can guarantee that works. This said, I have 6 minutes left, 6 seconds left. Thank you, everybody, and good luck with your teaching online. Have fun. This is the most important thing I would recommend. Shush. This is done. I'm done.
2, 1, there you go. Very good. Timing is everything, right? All right. Well, thanks, Sabrina.
Thanks to you.
Stay healthy, okay?
I try. I will. I'm positive I will.
All right.
Bye.
Great. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Okay. So, well, it looks like we're going to jump ahead because one of our speakers isn't here. So, Guy, if you're ready.
I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yep. Hang on, let me give you. Okay, you can pull up the screen now. You should be able to share your document.
All right.
And
how would I share? Oh, okay, here.
Yeah.
Are you able to see that?
Not yet. Go down to the bottom, the green box, click on it. You'll get the pop-up. Choose what you want. Press share in the pop-up. Or you can double-click on what you want to show.
Just double-click on it?
Yeah, it should come up. There you go. It's starting to come up now.
How about now?
There. Everybody sees it. All right. So, Guy, as I mentioned before, yep. Where'd you go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Guy's going to talk to us about Word Engine, and this is a great idea. Everybody take a screenshot and get this address here. This is a great idea. When Guy sent me a message about this, and I immediately put him in here because right now, what better thing
I've
to
left
do?
the address on the first few slides so that I can get going, but you need to capture that last bit after the bit.ly part for sure.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the most important. But this is great for your students. It's great for teachers. And with that said, I'll set you for 10 minutes and you're all set, Guy. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you for having me, Rob. I'd like to introduce something fun that you can perhaps do with 8 to 20 students or even more. It's called the Word Engine Team Challenge Vocabulary Tournament. You may enter one team or several teams. If your team wins, You get 1 year of Word Engine services for all students at your school. That was Rob's suggestion. I'm hoping the team from Mexico doesn't win because they have over 50,000 EFL students. A bit of background. For many years, we conducted individual study tournaments with Word Engine, and I'll introduce that in a minute. And the students who participated in these individual tournaments, they learned thousands of new words in very short periods of time. But despite their amazing achievements, the vast majority of other students remained unmotivated by the few. So I reckoned a better approach was needed, a team-based approach. And that led me to cooperative learning, which was first proposed by Robert Slavin of Johns Hopkins University. And he suggested that groups of students can study independently at their own levels and still compete as teams in a series of matches in a tournament format. Well, that seemed just the ticket for us. So last year we gave it a go for the first time, and it was amazing. The beauty of the cooperative learning tournament is that the students pull together and they motivate each other to learn more. So it's actually less work for the teacher. So, and our first team challenge, as I mentioned, it showed a 25% increase in overall academic achievement. And we're very precise in the way we measure that. And if you, as you learn more about Word Engine, or if you care to, you'll understand how precise. But even more than 25% overall for participants, a whopping 50% increase for the teams who were still active in the final rounds of the tournament. So I started thinking, oh man, I have to find a way to keep more teams active longer in the tournament. So I started researching tournament structures, and it's quite fascinating. What's more, though, is that this kind of cooperative learning, according to Slavin and others, helps team members develop more interpersonal communication skills, which are lifelong social values that go way beyond just the high-frequency vocabulary that they learn during the tournament. So even if a team leader cannot meet their team face-to-face, during this crisis, obviously, they must still be able to communicate about team performance, and especially about the competitors' performance. We post the official tournament standings once a week, but we provide team leaders with information about their competitors several times a week. So each team leader must have a way to communicate with the team members, either by email or by a Facebook group or some other type of service. So I'll just assume you have to, please understand, you have to have that if you're going to participate. It doesn't do any good for team members to find out on Monday that just a few more minutes of study and they might have won the weekly match. And it's helpful to know that the research shows that one common email sent to all team members is as productive as sending individual private messages. So that makes it a little easier for the leader to manage. Each team challenge tournament consists of 4 or 5 weekly rounds of match competition. In the first round, for example, the teams are matched together randomly. In this example, there are 6 teams. There are 8 Hawks players, and they're up against 15 Toucans. There are 12 kangaroos, and they're playing 9 tigers, 10 eagles playing 14 pandas. Each of these pairings is a match. It doesn't matter how many players are on a team because we count the average correct responses per team member, not the total correct responses of all team members. At the end of the first round, we'll see that the Hawks did 628 average correct responses. And that means they beat the Toucans. So they get 1 match point. All match winners get 1 match point, and the losers get no points. The 2 highest performing teams after the first round were the Tigers with 789 average correct responses, and the Eagles with 976 ACR. So these 2 teams are going to face each other in the second round. Otherwise, it would be too easy for them to keep winning. the lowest performing teams were the toucans and the kangaroos. So these two are going to play each other in the next round. So they have a good chance of scoring a first match point. The hawks and the pandas are the mid-level performers. So they're going to play each other in the next round. And as you can see, it's going to be an exciting match because they were so close in what they did in the first round. So this is what it might look like after the high, mid, and low teams have faced off against each other at the end of the second round. The high and low matching structure gives every team a chance to score points and come back and win the competition. So that now after the final round, all teams are ranked not by their ACR, but by their number of points. Now, with this type of structure, it is likely that two or more teams will have the same number of match points. And in a 4-week tournament, it's either going to be 3 or 4, and there'll be several teams that have the same amount of match points. So what happens is, with any such ties, they're broken by comparing the average weekly correct responses of the team. You can see the formula on there. You just basically, and that's their average for the total tournament. So that's how the tournament works. And we run, it's located anywhere can compete, and we also mostly run intramural tournaments just for the classrooms at the same school. Japanese, they're famous for being a little shy, and they don't like to necessarily see their school lose to another school. So they like to keep it all within the school. So that's the team challenge. Let me pop out of that. And I thought maybe you might want to see the how the word engine works. So let me run that. Let's see, I go back down here.
Go back to share, you'll get the pop-up and double click on what you want to show.
Okay. All right, good. So let's just play this.
Word Engine is a highly effective vocabulary learning application for mobile phones and computers. Yes. Word Engine greatly improves your comprehension and increases scores on standard tests. Sign up and activation. Word Engine is a web app. It works on the browser in your mobile phone or computer. Word Engine is not in the app stores. Open your browser and search for Word Engine. And for easy access to Word Engine, be sure to save a launch icon on your home screen. If your teacher gave you a login ID and password, just tap the light blue login button. The first page you'll see when you log into your account is your My page. All new students begin by taking the VCheck test. Tap the red Go button to get started. VCheck takes about 12 minutes. Just think about the words at the top and choose the correct match from the 3 choices at the bottom. Some questions are listening questions. You'll need to tap the green sound button to hear the word before you can answer. When it's 100% finished, VCheck prepares a personal vocabulary score report just for you. Tap the orange button to see it. Your VCheck score report shows how many words you know for each subject and how your vocabulary size correlates to standard test scores. Now that you have a VCheck score, you can study with your personal word lists. Go back to My page and open the course library to select your vocabulary courses, the courses you want to study. Back on My page, each time you tap the red Go button beside a course, the Word Engine automatically prepares the most important words for you to study. You can study with flashwords or the word panic games. Flashwords are digital flashcards with built-in spaced repetition to help you develop long-term memory retention. Word Panic is a series of retro-style games where you win by getting the correct answers before time runs out. After every study session, you can see how many correct responses you made and check the meanings of the words you missed so you can get them right the next time. Weekly study goals. Your teacher's weekly study goal will appear on your My page. Do not wait until just before the weekly deadline to study. Work a little bit every day to beat the daily goal. If you have a question about Word Engine, tap the Contact Us link on the menu. Thank you very much for choosing Word Engine.
Okay, well, that's the Word Engine. That link is on the document, which we're calling the guidelines, that has all kinds of detailed information about the tournament and the Word Engine and the science behind it. So I think my 10 minutes are up. You're welcome to contact me. There's a link on the guidelines document to ask other questions. But basically, to join, you just need 8 students or a max of 20 per team. And you need their email addresses or some way to contact them, because I'm going to send you the login IDs if you're the team leader. And then you send them to the students.
Hi, everyone. This is Farah from Zoom, and we are back to share with you some of the fundamental...
Sorry about that.
Okay. Autoplay from Zoom. All right, great. And
yeah,
I know there's only a couple days left for the start, right?
Right. Yeah, that's one issue. We'll do it again, but for right now, I've got schools starting up in early, late April and early May. So I was hoping to get this free tournament wrapped up by the end of April so that I can focus on that.
Yeah.
And just in case anyone's wondering, the age range for Word Engine, the youngest students I have are 9 and 10 in Brooklyn, New York, refugees at an elementary school, and the oldest are in their 60s, or 70s even. So it adjusts to everyone's level. So it's not like, well, what level is it for? It's quite fascinating. There is a link to a TESOL presentation I gave last year, or maybe 2 years ago, and that gets into all of the details if you're interested. That's in the guidelines. Thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you, and we're glad to be somewhat of a help for you to get the word out and help sponsor in advertising. So good luck.
Well,
thanks, Guy.
I hope someone will give it a go. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks again. Very good. So let's move on. And there we have Teresa. Let me give you, you got co-host already.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Can hear you fine.
Perfect.
So
okay.
let me, here, I'm going to, right now, I'm putting your link in the chat if you want to explain.
Okay. Let me, in the chat. Okay,
yeah, it's already there. I got it. I just did it.
Great. Well, Rob will be posting that also on the YouTube, right?
On the recording, it'll be on the YouTube chat also.
Because I'm going to leave everything. I'm going to leave this talk with Rob. You're going to have access to this talk, to these slides, I guess, that you can call it, and also link to the materials I'm going to be sharing. So I only have 10 minutes. I'll be real quick. Okay, greetings.
Take it away.
Greetings from Italy. I'm talking from here, the University of Calabria. And I'm going to show how we're using Google Sites to set up our coursework at the university, because we kind of have to finish the book, before the students do their exam, unfortunately. So here we are. So basically, when Italy went into lockdown, and we have all these university students, of course, when you go into lockdown, chat with these many students because we have like hundreds of classes, usually divided into 3 at the university. It's hard to hold an English lesson for all these students online. So, and I'll show you in English. And so the challenge to us was to transform well-structured classroom textbooks we already had and to them to take them onto well-guided online materials. Okay? So so that is this was the we were dealing with textbooks, for example, and we took out the tasks because we were teaching that had the yes. You don't hear me?
No, it's doing a weird internet thing and it's chopping up your voice.
Oh.
Let's give it a second.
Okay.
Give it a second. Why don't you go back 2 slides?
Okay.
I'll give you 2 more minutes. It's an internet thing.
Okay.
Or a Zoom thing, so it's not you.
Maybe that Zoom lady was trying to say something.
That could be. She's zooming in on us. All right, try again.
Okay, should I start from the beginning? I mean, I'll start kind of here, okay?
Yeah, go from wherever you want. We have the time.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so here we are. So the idea of having to, so when we went into lockdown at the university, the idea of having to speak to, classrooms of 30 students and sometimes 100 students via chat was a little bit tedious. And so unlike chemistry and physics that my colleagues teach, English lends itself much more to very lively and real-time interaction. So since we have really good textbooks, what we did was, what we thought to do was to take our well-structured classroom textbooks and transform them into well-guided online learning materials. I'm just looking at the time. Okay, so the textbooks that we had to work with are these 2. As if you know them, they're very nicely structured. They have all these different tasks already well defined, and we decided to put them on Google. Okay. I mean, this is not new for a lot of you who use Google Classrooms, but I'm too stupid to understand Google Classrooms, so I just stuck to Google Sites. And I just want to show you how cool it is to have Google Sites set up. And so today I thought to talk to you about epidemiology and illustrate a little bit of how English medium instruction can be involved via Google Sites. Okay, and the links I'll give you are links to materials that will help you also do epidemiology in CLIL if you're interested. Okay, so let's see. And now here is an example of. So I'm not showing these textbooks. I'm showing materials about epidemiology because it's kind of pertinent to what's happening now. So I'm trying to kill many birds with one stone here. So here, for example, would be a textbook. If I click on that, so in Google Sites, you can set it up so you can click on the site. And what you get then is access to, let me move this thing away, to this textbook here, okay, which looks like a textbook, okay? So this is how, this is an issue, okay? I'm gonna also give you access to all the text that a list of all the text I'm using. So here, for example, I'm gonna transform this page of a textbook, for example, onto Google Sites. Okay, where are we here? Okay, so I'm going to close this. Sorry, but it's a little what? Okay, now, so here we are. So here, look here on the search window. We have lesson 1, lesson 2, etc. And you can keep going. So why worry? For example, here. Okay, why worry about epidemiology at this point? Okay, so we're talking about epidemiology. So why worry about epidemiology? And at this point, what we see is this. The students would come here. And as you can see, I've had to reorganize the textbook. And for example, here is a link in using Screencast-O-Matic. Here I've listed the text that I'm using. It's Google Sites. And here Screencast-O-Matic. Okay, it's free for 15 minutes. So here, for example, with Screencast-O-Matic, you would have, I recorded something very quickly to talk to the students. And you should be able to hear this instruction. I'll just let you hear it very briefly. Okay. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So that would be something that you could record using Screencast-O-Matic and link the video into here while you talk to your students, okay? Okay, so that's an example. And for example, since we're trying to make this more interactive with the students, instead of just saying, study the book and see you in June, I've broken down the text into a little task, for example. And they could go to the page of answers to check themselves, okay? And also here's a page of answers. So basically you can set it up such that here, for example, is the page of answers within Google Sites. Okay, now for example, let's look at a second lesson. This is a fun activity. Now again, in the original text, this page would have looked like this. Sorry, let me get to the page. This page would have looked more like this, okay? So here is a page in a textbook, okay? Here on Google Sites, I would have to break this up, okay? And I've taken the Cambridge University Press pictures and I put them here. So you can make the site really cute, very nice. And so instead of presenting it as was, and you will see later on if you get through the link, I have recontextualized the task. Danielle is a summer intern at the social media communications department of the World Health Organization. He's been tasked to create 4 videos. So I'd like you to take a read. Okay, so read the short screenplays. And here, for example, to explain the word screenplay, I hyperlink this onto Wikipedia to explain what screenplay is, of 4 videos that Danielle has designed, okay, to show the infectious diseases. At the end of each video, a slogan will appear. So they have to read the video, the screenplays, and decide which of the slogans below would work, okay? So these are the slogans. Okay, so I'd like you to read these because it's kind of fun, I think, okay? So I'll give you a minute to take a quick read and decide which slogan might work well for this. Okay, I'm going to make it a little smaller. Okay, sorry. Okay, just read the video 1, 2, and 3 maybe, and then I'll show you the slogans below. Or actually, Rob, maybe it's better if I just read them to them. Okay, here, video 1, you have 5 friends exercising. At the end, they pick up a bottle of water. Okay, and so what's the slogan? The slogan would be, therefore, down here, great to share time with friends, not so great to share pathogens. Video 2, you have many people walking down the street and somebody sneezes and people walking into their sneeze. Okay, so there are two about sneezing. The first one is not useful. The second one will be, you sneeze it, share it. Don't infect the world, trap your germs in a tissue, etc. So the students have to imagine these scenes and then decide which slogan is best. So these are materials that you can use with your students now that they're home trapped due to pathogens. And I'm also showing you how to do this on Google. So now here, for example, afterwards, now click on the image and listen to the 4 correct slogans. And here again, I gave them the answers verbally, just to have them listen to something. Remember, these are university students, so this is asynchronous. They're working on their own here. Finally, at the end, here is, now it's your turn to develop a screenplay like that of Danielle. Okay, so they would have to develop this task and develop another screenplay, another advertisement to show the importance of hygienic living. Now, the important thing I'd like to show you is this. Okay, when they're done with their writings, the university students, they have to send in, they have to write X number of words, for example, and they have to send in their work via a Google form, where they said, okay, first they have to upload their texts onto a platform, which gives them a URL. And then they have to send in that URL through a Google form. So here would be, for example, a Google form, screenplay and slogan, their name, student number, and the URL of the screenplay and slogan that they have to give us. Okay, so then I'll show you. That's the front end. On the back end, what we see is this. In Google Drive, you have the screenplay and slogan. And let me just show you some text, some link URL. This is how it would look, because when you go through Google Form, you know they create a Google Sheet. And for example, students would send us, these are the student number, I've taken out their names, etc. And they send us these links. And then we click on these links and we look at the text that they produce. We look at their voice recordings. So as people are saying, Daniela's various apps can go on here. We can use those. You can use that linked into Google Sites. You can put in brain teasers. You can put in all sorts of things into Google Sites, and they can send you URLs to stuff that they produce. Okay, I'll show you one of these. This is not related to epidemiology. It's related to another task in their book, in EFL textbooks. For example, they had to write a little thing about hypochondriacs. So here, for example, is a little letter that we wrote, a little short email that they had to write to a friend about hypochondria. Okay, so this is an example. Then we give them feedback on this text, etc. So they're working asynchronously, but we're accompanying them through their textbooks. I think that's about it. I just wanted to encourage you to look into Google Sites to set things up and tidy things up. Okay, and as I said, here are the technology I use. So Rob will leave you guys with this link. I hope that was kind of useful in some way. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
For organizing this.
Well, we try. That's what we're here for.
Okay, let me unshare the screen, right?
Okay, and remember, all this will be available on the recordings later. So
Great.
you can
Thank
just
you.
go through.
Ciao.
Thanks again. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. And so moving on, we have Leticia. So Leticia, if you could turn on.
Hello.
Hello. I hear you now. Let's see you.
Can you see
There
me?
you are. Now I can. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
And you know how to share your doc, right? Do you have your PowerPoint open? Go down to the bottom. Oh, yeah. Okay. You see what you're doing. So, all right. What's this? Number 4 for you?
Maybe 4, yeah. Maybe
there?
4. Yeah.
Good. Well, every time I hear the word Italian, you know, we had a wonderful coffee in Rome. So I always think of you.
Yeah, that was very long time ago, and happy days.
Yes. Well, more days, happy days will be coming. So
hopefully so.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll give you your 10 minutes. You know what to do. And thanks so much for being here, as always.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob, for organizing this and for inviting me. It's a really nice idea for being in touch all together. And I'm starting with this sort of slogan, which is everything will be okay, which is something that we keep on repeating because we need it. We need to be somehow together and tell each other that all this nightmare will end soon and everything will be okay. And here you can see just all these pictures of a lot of children are drawing about with rainbows, just to stay with a sort of a happy and hopefully good message of hope. And I'm starting with this quote, which is I think is very meaningful, especially for this time. The web is enabling us to rediscover what we've always known about being human. We are connected creators in a connected world about which we care passionately. So we are forced to use the web in these days because everybody is home, and so the web is just we've discovered the web as a social closure. We talk about social distancing because we need to be distant in order to avoid spreading the virus, but the web can help us stay in touch, and so stay with this sort of closure we need to keep. And so we talk about virtual global hacks. A pandemic will lead to permanent social, economic, and cultural changes. The key is to create good from a bad situation. That's what we were doing. So we're trying to create good from this bad situation, and we're trying to find the opportunities that we can find out in this period. And of course, our teachers are our heroes, together with doctors and nurses, and because of course teachers are forced to play a new role in nowadays. So that's why the virtual global acts, we are all, it's a pandemic. So all the countries in the world are, we can hack everybody now virtually. And talking about virtual global tours, I would like to mention these tools that are really powerful. As we cannot go out, we may do it at least virtually. So the first one is Radio Garden, which is a global radio, that allows you to see the world from Google Earth, and then you can click on one of the green green dots that you see on the map, and then when you go there, you click on the dot, you can listen to the radio that is being broadcasting at the moment in that particular country. So it's a way to listen to the radio, to listen to the voice, somehow feel close to the country that you clicked on. And the other one maybe is popular is Google Tour Creator, is a tool by Google that allows to create, always based on Google Earth, allows to create this virtual tour. So you can click on start from a place wherever you want in the world, and then design your tour. And it's a virtual tour. It's also a 3D tour. Like here, for example, you can see picture of Rome, all times when it was crowded, and so you can create this global tour, at least just a virtual going out of the window, as we cannot do it personally. I would like to say a few words about what we are doing as Indire. I'm a researcher at Indire, which is the National Institute for Research, and it's the research institute of the Ministry of Education. So we are providing this support to teachers that, of course, to work remotely, and so we have very full list of webinars each day, run by teachers who are willing to share their experience with other teachers or school principals as well. And they talk about different aspects of distance teaching and learning. And it's a way to, first of all, to stay in touch with each other and to exchange experiences and get inputs on, from more expert teachers and school principals. And we also provide tutorial with the resources, open education resources, and other tools and other so hints about platforms or anything that basically, of course, teachers may need to teach remotely. So just very quickly, I'm going to show you some examples of web tools that our teachers are using in this period. Of course, web tools are so many, and the internet is full of resources. We had a lot of examples shown by previous speakers. So I'm just going to mention one or two for each skills, focusing on language learning in particular. So I'm particularly passionate about debate. Debate is one of my research areas connected to language learning, and because it's one of the teaching methodologies that is being adopted by schools in Italy. And this is a way to have our students debate in writing using platforms like TriCider or eDebate or Chialo, which are platforms where students can write their arguments in favor or against certain claims or motions. So it's a way to have them engaged in meaningful writing activities through this shape of sort of debate. Talking about reading, we have a lot of free resources, and in particular in this period of pandemia, we are having more and more free resources. So audiobooks.org or ESL Bits. You can find a lot of novels and short stories, also according to different level of language competence, and you can have them. You can listen to the story. They are audiobooks. So this could be the good time. We were talking about opportunities, so we could encourage our students to read for pleasure. So in this case, also listen to a story for pleasure without the always the obsession to be tested and assessed, but it's just the extensive reading, the idea of reading for pleasure. This is the right time because it can be a way to just spend their days in another way. About listening and speaking, we have a lot of podcasts, a lot of like the ones provided by BBC Learning English. So it's very short, like 6 minutes activities, very short podcasts about news or about other subjects. So it's a way to practice listening skills. And then speaking, if we want our students to practice their speaking and maybe just send some audio files with their voices, with their voice, you can use SpeakPipe, which is one of the many tools completely free, where you just can record your voice, and it's an audio file you can share with platforms or any other ways. Then focus on repositories. There are so many repositories that our teachers are using for any subjects, of course, and these ones are particularly helpful for language teachers and CLIL teachers, as CLIL is compulsory in Italy, and so it could be helpful to guide our teachers to use these repositories for their CLIL lessons. But repositories, you can find repository for every subject, of course. And of course, teachers, we are guiding our teachers to use these free educational resources and repositories to maybe send their students through their platforms and to send activities, like in these examples that are on the slides. Khan Academy, where there are a lot of videos on different topics. a real pathway. I mean, a complete pathway with exercises and maybe true false statements or other sort of tests associated to the videos provided on different topics. TED is also another very powerful tool with a lot of videos, a lot of lessons, with once again a pathway to follow. You can watch, think, dig deeper, discuss. So there are prompts for discussion and further activities that students can do alone. So it's just a way to facilitate the learning pathway and find a lot of ideas here. Classtools.net is another very powerful tool. It's actually a repository with a lot of web tools inside, like SMS generator, or the magic wheel, or the fake book, which is a sort of fake Facebook, where, for example, students can create their own avatar that could be an historical hero, for example, and so on. And going very fast, just with this focus online interaction and collaboration tool, which is called Pen Pal Schools, which is a platform allowing students to work on projects with other students in other parts of the world, and also parents can jump in. This is a very interesting platform, because also parents, so talk about young children, also parents can follow their children in their activities. Just very, very quickly to the last slide, which is something that is particularly I'm particularly keen on, because it's indeed in my institute, is Edmondo, which is a virtual world where we have our teachers and students just work and study and have lessons. So you can see a picture of a class that one of our teachers recreated in Edmondo, and she likes having lessons there in a virtual world. So just ending with this quotation: "This virus will leave us entirely newborn people. We'll all be different. None of us will ever be the same again. But of course, we will have deeper roots and be made of denser soil, and our eyes will have seen things." So that's what we of course we hope to that this nightmare will end soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was great as always. And let's see what we're going to do. Actually, since we're missing a couple of speakers, but what it's time for now is, before you all leave, time for our raffle from Regipio. And to do our raffle, let's see, I'm going to say the first person in the chat room who can tell how many speakers did we have today that actually spoke. First one to type it in the chat room. Let me get back. Okay. Okay, now the question is, do you count me as a speaker? Yes or no? No? Okay, good. So you answered the question then. Our winner is Cheryl. Let me just make sure. Oh, no, wait. Nope, it's not Cheryl. It was actually Daniela. Yay, congratulations, Daniela. Okay, I've got a way to get a hold of you. So I'm going to pass the information on to Regina from Regipio, and she will be in touch and we'll get those sets out to you. Okay, so what I'd like to do just before we leave, just one more time, bear with me for a second, and let me remind you of what's coming up. Of course, for those of you who missed the information, just go to wordengine.com and all the information will be there from Guy for the team challenge. We hope you become one of our speakers. So join us. We appreciate you being here. And remember, Wednesday night, we all need a good laugh. So come and join us. It's not about teacher development. It's not about using online tools. It's not about anything but having some fun. So come back and join us. And for the women that are here, if you think you're funny, get in touch with me, and we'd love to have you for Women's Night. And before, let me turn this off. And I'd like, Larissa, if you can turn on your camera, I think you're still here. Yeah, Larissa, you're still here. If you're nearby your computer, and actually everybody, if you could turn on your cameras just for a second, and let's give a big virtual hug to everybody in Italy and everybody all over the world. Remember, we're all teachers, we're all in this together. And hey, Mike, and we support each other. And you don't see this happening with math teachers, but you see it happening with English teachers. So a big virtual hug to everybody. I'll use my few Italian words I know. Dammi baci, io sono stanco. And thanks everybody for being here. Thanks to all the speakers, to everybody who listened to us. And,
Grazie, Rob.
Thank you. And I hope we all stay well. And we're all going to laugh about this next year, okay? This whole situation.
Sicuro.
Okay, so thank you all. Thanks, everybody.
Ciao.
John Arnold, background. He's been on the EFL YouTube channel, and everybody for helping out. So, grazie.
Ciao.
Bye. Ciao, ciao.
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 Ciao, Judy.